Bánh bao, bánh bao đây, bánh bao nóng hổi thơm ngon đây.
Welcome everybody, my name is Michael and this is my journey living here in Vietnam. This is why you don't come out here around Viet because everything's closed. Lots of shops here are closed out here. Can't really get anything to eat. I mean, you can pick up some food stuff from Grab and stuff, but otherwise majority, I say 80% of Saigon is closed. It's definitely weather starting to pick up and get really hot. It gets really hot around March, starts getting really hot and humid out here. All these shops right here would normally be open, but they're all closed today. Good morning guys from Vietnam. Just want to show you guys a little bit of my daily home living here. So there, some soup. You can see I'm in the kitchen here, warming up some food. Ground pork, tofu. Here. It's Tết without any bánh chưng guys, so here we're gonna have some bánh chưng. So V and her family made bánh chưng this year and they hooked me up with one. So yeah guys, bánh chưng is basically like mung bean, rice, sticky rice and pork all up in one bite here. This stuff's amazing. Let's get out of the apartment and take you guys on the tour of the city. So they just built this park here. I don't know, like park walkway here. This I think is just barely built, like probably maybe a week or two I think. So this leads you right before the Windway walking street behind us here. Pretty cool. These are kind of like you know, building some parks and stuff like that to kind of improve the walking street area. I think it's pretty awesome. Alright, so today we're going to take the metro, show you guys a little bit of modern Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon here. You guys see the metro is still really clean. We're gonna take a one-way ticket from Windway Walking Street to the Thao Dien. Just kind of like District 2 Thao Dien, kind of like where all the expats are. So yes, if you guys ever been to any other metro stations around the world, really simple, very straightforward. Take the card, walk through the little pass gateway, and head down to where we need to go. Yeah, so we're taking L1 to L6 into Thao Dien.
Đây là chuyến tàu Minh quyết định ga Việt Nam và Thao Dien. This train is bound for Kieu. Next station is Viet.
Guys, we made a pretty quick ride on the metro. Pretty cool. I'm really excited that Vietnam has a metro now. It's awesome. Very convenient and very cheap. Even though it says 22,000, when we turn the card right now, when the terminal when we exit, we'll get back 15,000. So the ride will only cost us a total of like 6,000 or 7,000 for the entire ride from Windway Walking Street to Thao Dien, which is pretty awesome, in my opinion. there you have it, guys. Go to the terminal, hit card return, insert ticket into the left, the card back into the left slot, and then they'll give you back change. Get back 15,000. Now we're gonna walk over to Cong Caphe. One of my favorite spots out here. I know if you guys haven't been to Cong Caphe, it's very like rustic Vietnam 1920s decor. And they have the best coconut coffee in all of Vietnam. Been around almost 12 years now. I think the first time I had it when I came here in Vietnam was like 2012 maybe. You see, pretty modern. This is Starbucks here. Cinema Mall. Also, if you guys don't notice, I'm pretty much walking around everywhere. I feel like in Vietnam, I get to walk around a lot more places because they're a lot more convenient. And lots of places are like a 10-minute walk, which is pretty much a breeze, which is not too much of a crazy walk out here. Get your cardio in, stay a little bit healthy. I feel like I don't do that anymore in America, or I hardly do that in America because, like, of course, all we do is jump in our car and drive like 2 blocks down the street just to get Starbucks, right? Look at how cool this is, guys. Outside coffee, a boutique hotel here. Wow, that's freaking awesome. I totally book a room here. Look at that. I've taken you guys here in the past before. There was a lot less roads, pavement around here, but now it's pretty developed. The younger generation of Vietnam, they're pretty, pet-friendly generation. I feel like they're all having pets now, cats, dogs, everywhere. This is what was going to be the Thao Dien walking street. I know they tried to make it a walking street for a while, but then that didn't quite work out. By the way, guys, if you guys do come out here, you definitely gotta go check out the Phúc Long out here. It's one of the most, it's kind of like their headquarters because they have like meeting rooms and everything inside their Phúc Long, and it's really nice inside. So you guys should go check it out. But today we're heading to Cong Caphe out here. So save that one for another episode or go check it out yourself. Alright guys, we are here, Cong Caphe in Thao Dien. Check it out. Check it out, guys. Lots of coconut shavings in here. Little mix. If you're a big fan of coconut, definitely go for it. How's it going, guys? So 2026, currently living in Vietnam. I've been back out here since December, on and off since after COVID 2022. Spending about 6 to 9 months here in Vietnam and 3 to 6 back in the States. What is it like to live in Vietnam? As you guys can see, I'm taking you guys around. Everything's pretty modern. There's a metro system here now. Apartment living is pretty modern. Anything you get, you can practically, in the States you can get out here now. They have all the big franchise chains. If you really miss American fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes, KFC, Jollibee. Lots of international chefs are here, so you can get anything from pizza to pasta to burgers to even tacos and burritos. So definitely can do that if you're craving for any of that kind of food. Lots of Indian food as well. Basically, you can get practically everything. So what is it like to live here in Vietnam? I feel like I'm a lot more relaxed here. There's a lot, more leisure time, not as stressed as the States. And I tend to walk a lot more here, get exercise. cost of living is roughly about a third of the U.S. So whatever you're looking for rent, like rent on average, you can get anywhere from $200 to for a single bedroom with a shared household to a modern day, studio or a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom for running up to about $750, $800 a month for a 1-year contract. So there's that for living. How is it that I'm living out here? So fortunately, I'm able to work remote. Back in the States, I work in the visual effects industry, mostly post-production, but I've done every single pipeline. I've been in pre-production, on production, on set. I've done broadcasts. I've worked on broadcasts, live broadcasts like that. So I've been doing this for a long time now. And fortunately, I'm still able to work remotely. I still get gigs every now and then. Other than that, I feel like there's a big misconception of people when they move out here to Vietnam and they think, it's simple. You go just teach English or something and get by. I'm sure there's a lot of that, but there's also a lot of other people trying to become teachers here, and that's definitely one route. But I don't really recommend it if you're planning to stay out here long term. Ideally, you want to be able to work remotely. I feel like a lot of Viet Kius or Vietnamese American or Australian Vietnamese. Basically Viet Kius, which are either born overseas or moved overseas and moved back here. I've seen a lot of people try to get into business ventures. So heck, even I got into a business venture, trying to run a coffee shop out here, and that didn't last too long, but it was a great business learning experience. I feel like a lot of people come back here or move to Vietnam and think it's very just because you have USD and your dollar goes a long way, that is you can do anything out here. You can start a business, run a business, and be successable. But it is a grind. I feel like in any venture you do, you have to commit. You have to go all in, 100%. There's no half-assing. Don't think that just because you have USD dollars, you're going to be able to, just kind of open a shop and sustain and come with your Western mentality into Eastern mentality, Eastern culture, and make it better. That's kind of the misperception. I'm going to keep it real, guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I see a lot of that kind of mentality and mindset that people come back here for the first time and thinking that they can just make Vietnam the new Western land to make money, but realistically that's not reality. If you come here, it is an Eastern culture, Eastern mentality, very different from Western mentality. Even though the younger generation, they adapt to Western culture and are very, all on their mobile phones. They learn a lot, learn quick. Surprisingly, a lot of Vietnamese people now speak Mandarin, even Korean and Japanese here. Those are 3 big cultural influences that have influxed into Vietnam for the past few years. So there's that. The why am I here? The reason why I'm here is because I was born in the U.S. I was born in the East Coast. My parents moved to the West Coast with the rest of our family in the early 80s. My parents are Vietnamese refugees from the war, so they came to America, got sponsored by a church, came to America, and they made it. They were when the middle class was still around and you had the American dream back then. I came into Vietnam in 2009 for the very first time in my life, and when I arrived here in 2009, I kind of fell in love with the place already. Wanted to actually move to Vietnam back then already in 2009, and I kind of went back to Vietnam for 2-3 years consecutively. I think it was 2009, 2010, 2011. I came back here and I actually was going to acquire a marketing firm and wanted to move to Vietnam back then, but whatever financial situations didn't quite work out, and I think I was totally not ready for early adaptation of Vietnam back then in the early 2010s. That was that. But my family continued doing charity here for every 2 years. One of my aunts, that was kind of like she had cancer, and it was kind of like her last wish for us to all the family, like all the children and nieces and nephews and everything, to kind of like get together and come to Vietnam and give back to just kind of give back, because we were like well off in America. We kind of were business people, successful business people over there, and we're able to have extra money to kind of do that charity event and stuff like that every 2 years. So we did that for about three consecutive years here in Vietnam, and then COVID happened, and then ever since COVID we haven't had a chance to do it again. But me and my friends that are here in Vietnam, we kind of get together every now and then and kind of do charity events here and there, try to give back as we can. That's the world, right? Whatever you give out into the world will come back to you. So that's kind of the mentality I have here. But yeah, so living in Vietnam, my monthly expenses aren't that much. I spend roughly around anywhere between 800 to 1,200. If I'm kind of partying a little bit, I say like $2,000 a month. If I'm having a lot of friends visiting and doing a lot of partying, that's 2,000 is kind of like, it's a lot, because like partying all the time every weekend, even the weekdays, and just kind of taking people around, giving them a tour guide and stuff like that. Hence, my channel, MPH Journeys, right? So, miles per hour journey around the globe. That's how I started this whole thing post-COVID, after COVID, and started going around the world and traveling a lot. Fortunately, been able to like visit up to 15 countries now, doing that. And being in Vietnam here, I think it's a great like central hub for Southeast Asia. Like anywhere you want to go to Thailand, you want to go to Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, Cambodia. Everything is just 2-3 hours away on a plane ride. You just jump on a plane, fly out for a weekend, and come back, and that's gives you that kind of a leisure opportunity, right? Been doing that for a few years now, and thank you for all of you guys for checking out my channel, following me for these past few years. As of now, I pretty much kind of wanted to kind of like living more here in Vietnam. 6 to 9 months out of the year. I'm planning eventually to kind of, I think I'm going to move out here for the next few years to stay out here long term. If you never traveled out the United States, I feel like you should. We all live once, and the world's a very vast place and a very beautiful place. The reason why I travel is I go and experience other people's culture and see how they live. We are kind of fortunate because we are a first world country with a lot of great modern amenities and stuff like that, capitalism and stuff like that. But I've also learned over the years that it doesn't matter how much money you guys make, all the money in the world, it's not going to make you happy. I don't know if you guys have seen that across lots of podcasts and social media and stuff like that, where a lot of people interview rich people and tell you that you have all the money in the world, money doesn't make you happy at the end of the day. It makes life easier. Yes, I totally agree with that. A little bit more comfortable because you have your more leisure or leeway to like kind of work when you want to work when you don't want to work. I think that's the privilege of having money. At least a benefit of money. The benefit of money is that money buys you time, right? But just buys you free time. Get a little deep here. We all have a limited time, on this earth, right? At the end of the day, we are all going to the same place. It doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor you are. We all end up in the same place. I have a couple of friends who are now dealing with certain health issues and stuff like that. And tomorrow is never promised, right? But I feel like we just wake up and kind of make the best of our day. Whatever energy I feel we put out in the world, we will get that energy back. If you're an asshat and you give that, asshat personality out to the world, you're gonna get crap back. I feel like if you kind of be a good person, define good person, right? But I feel like if you give good energy out into the world, good energy will come back to you. That's just pretty much it. Just want to catch you guys up on my life here out in Vietnam. Modern living, modern eating. I feel like some people come out here to find themselves. There's a little bit of that. A lot of that, I would say. I don't know if that's whether to find another significant other that they're trying to look for that I think maybe will complete them, or they come here and try to, not happy with their current work life situation in America. What, the Eastern culture has to offer, which is very different from America. I can tell you that right now. That there's a lot more leisure, and you come to a third world country and you are fortunate that your dollar goes a longer way than the currency, and you can provide for other people, make someone's life better for a few weeks, few weekends, few nights, whatnot. Yeah, so that's kind of like that mentality. I feel like a lot of people, like I said, they come here and they're trying to just find a new changing, their career, or finding something different because they're not happy with their current career choice or a career path. Even me, I work in visual effects, and ever since they released AI, it's definitely kind of changed up our industry big time. 65% of my industry is still unemployed, and I still see, every day I wake up and I see, thousands and thousands of people being laid off at companies because of AI now, right? So that is a huge kind of shift in, in reality, right? So AI has definitely changed everything. We currently have, wars going on, and there's a lot happening in the world right now. I feel like, the world, we're going through inflation worldwide, and you can see the effects of that here in Vietnam too, not just, in the States, but worldwide. A lot of businesses, they aren't, doing too well. It's not, now nobody's really making money like they were, maybe during COVID even, I would just say, right? Yeah, I feel like there's a big shift in the reality of the world right now, and we have to pivot, right? That's life. There's always ups and downs. It's never a straight line, right? There's always like a roller coaster. You guys know, you could probably see that illustration all the time, right? Like life's not a straight line, life's not a straight path. And it's never a bad thing, right? Like if you make mistakes in life, you gotta learn from that mistake. And so you learn the valuable lesson, you learn not to make a mistake again and how to fix and correct it and become better, right? So the second time around, you're gonna, do that task, you're not gonna fail because, you already now you know how to do it, right? So that's kind of that whole mentality. Don't be afraid to fail, right? Don't be afraid to, go out there, try to start your own business or whatnot, start your own venture. Take risks in life. I've tried to run like so many businesses, right? But yeah, so that's kind of that. My bad, guys. So camera ran out of battery, so I had to kind of head home. Back in my apartment here in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. Like I was saying, I also failed at business. Don't give up. Continue trying. Every failed lesson is a lesson learned, and you have the opportunity to become better, in my opinion, on the next one around. So whether you are taking a journey, traveling to find yourself, a new path in your life, finding love, I'm guilty of it. Other ways to kind of find money, whatever it is that you're looking for on your journey, that I wish you guys all the best. I highly recommend you take a journey, sabbatical every once in a while, and kind of step away from everything, kind of recollect yourself, re-energize yourself, ground yourself again, and continue on the next chapter of your life, right? So with that note, I just want to kind of leave it out to you guys. Like I said, thank you for following my channel, MPH Journeys, Mile Per Hour Journeys around the world, and hope to see you guys in the next one.